Hey, what's up everybody? It's OVA and we are going to be having an epic match between EGIdrA spawning at the top right and we have RootMinigun. Take a note that his name is, the team he is not on is Cole. He's actually on Team Root with Destiny, and the reason why he switched over was mainly because of Destiny. Minigun and Destiny are buddies. So yeah, and they like to practice with each other, all the other good stuff, because Minigun is a prolific Protoss player and Destiny is a Zerg player, and they get really good practice with each other, and they do make quite a lot of money off of streaming. So anyways, what type of game are we going to see on this kind of map? Well, this is the map Shakir's Plateau, I believe. And basically what you can do on this map is the Protoss player could easily wall off his ramp. He's going to decide to place the pylon over here. Sometimes a Protoss player will place the pylon over here kind of near the ramp. And let me just set on the productions tab really fast. And basically, after they put down that pylon, they're going to put down a forge, and then they could put down the nexus. But the thing is, this build is very susceptible to a baneling bust, because if you use a pylon, just like 5 banelings, something like that, could blow up the pylon, and then you have a bunch of zerglings streaming inside of your base, and that's never a good scenario for a Protoss player, because it's very difficult to deal with streams of zerglings inside your base. So EGIdrA gonna just opt to go for the spawning pool before the hatchery. And the reason because of that is Minigun, because he's such a good Protoss player, he could easily just cannon the hatchery, and EGIdrA is not going to be able to get Zerglings for a while to deal with those cannons. So what he could basically do is get the spawning pool first and then go for his hatchery. So when Minigun tries to place down cannons, EGIdrA will be able to get Zerglings just in time to deal with the probe and the cannons. And we see Minigun just trying to delay the hatchery for as long as possible. He does get the pylon down, so that hatchery is going to be delayed until the lings come. So that was 100 minerals well spent by Minigun, and we're just going to have to see if that's going to come into play at all later into the game. EGIdrA is probably not too happy about that, which is why he's making a couple links to deal with that. And the reason why he has one drone on there is because he does not want the pylon to regenerate its shield. So he's just going to keep hacking away at that. And while Minigun was doing that, what is he up to? Well, he set down a photon cannon because he's a little bit worried about Zergling run by, because EGIdrA is obviously going to be forced to make some links to deal with that cannon. So he's going to need to, he's just going to send one ling over. Okay, that's going to delay killing the pylon by at least a couple seconds. Not too big of a deal, but he actually does get the cannon down, so he's going to be safe from any Zergling run-bys. And it looked like he put down his nexus before the photon cannon, so he's actually going to get double geysers. And that could either mean one or two things. He's just going to go for a quick Colossus, or he's just going to go for a Stargate play. And by Stargate play, he's just going to get some Void Rays, and he's going to try to deny the stir by killing it. So if EGIdrA is smart, he's going to recognize that there's a Stargate play coming out of Minigun, or he's just going to have to completely guess. He's not going to be able to see anything with this scouting Overlord, but if he had an Overlord over here, he'd be able to scout out what Minigun is up to inside of his base. So right now, EGIdrA, he's just going to go for a double expand because he knows he can get away with it. He knows he's a little bit behind as well. And the way he can deal with this Void Ray and Phoenix harass is if he gets enough Spore Crawlers and enough Queens, he should be able to fend it off with relative ease. And right now, EGIdrA, even though he double expanded, he has complete map control because he can just keep pumping out lings. I assume he already has speed. Or is he? No, he does not. He has not researched that yet. So if the Protoss wanted to move out across the map with a 4-gate, or just 4-gate robotics facility, he could easily take out swarms of Zerglings, because Zealots are really, really good in dealing with speedless lings. And EGIdra's actually going to send that Overlord now. Will he be able to scout in time what Minigun's up to? Well, this Overlord will be in position to intercept any Void Rays. What do I mean by intercept? Well, if there are any Void Rays just traveling along the path, and if EGIdra is paying attention, he's going to be able to see that Void Ray on the minimap. And that would just not be a good scenario for Minigun, because that's just going to give EGIdra time to prepare. It's going to give him at least 2 or 3 minutes. And, well, not 2 or 3 minutes. It's actually going to give him a full 30 seconds at the very most. I don't know what I was thinking by saying 2 or 3 minutes. That's like if he's circling around the watchtower just for no apparent reason. And Minigun does feel safe to move across the map with a Stalker and a Zealot because he knows EGIdrA doesn't have any lings yet or speed yet. He has not even opted to research that yet. So if I were in his shoes, I would kind of back up because this is kind of a dangerous scenario for Minigun, and he might get the surround. He is going to lose one Zealot, that's for sure. Stalker will get away because it moves practically at the same speed of Flings. So he might get a few pot shots in, but overall that Stalker's going to keep regenerating shields, not that big of a deal. And he has a Sentry to back up that Stalker, and we all know Sentries can take out at least 50,000 Lings. So let's see at the income. Let's see how far EGIdrA's ahead. Not too far ahead by just 11 drones. We do know that Minigun does need to cause a little bit of damage, and we see him dropping down a few more gateways. Did he opt to get the Stargate? No, he did not. So he's just going to go for a straight up, go for the death ball, maybe grab a third base, and all Zerg players hate this so much. It's so difficult to deal with, and you're just going to have to keep that death ball down as much as possible while you're expanding all over the map. And then it's up to the Zerg player to decide when you want to attack and overwhelm the Protoss player. Now, EGIdrA could overwhelm his Protoss player right now if he just made a bunch of Roaches and Hydralisks before the Colossus start to come into play, because he's not gotten a robotics bay. Yeah, I forgot what the name of it was for a second, but what is EGIdrA doing? Why is he putting all his overlords in the middle of the map? That's going to be sniped pretty easily. And I like this from EGIdrA. He's getting one Spore Crawler, and this is good. He didn't overreact or anything. He didn't get too many Spore Crawlers, and this is going to be good for air harass. That's going to deny any of that. Not that Minigun went for a Stargate, but it's also going to deny Dark Templars as well. If the Dark Templars focus on the Spore Crawler, that's just going to buy EGIdrA some time to get an Overseer, and just a really good placement on that Spore Crawler as well. And Minigun knows he needs to cause some damage right now. He's going to either feign some pressure, or he's going to need to cause some damage. Now, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to cause any damage because EGIdrA is pumping out a ton of Roaches. He made at least 15 or 20, something like that, and that fills up the supply cap very easily. So if EGIdrA has speed on those Roaches, he's going to get a pretty easy surround on that Protoss army. Did EGIdrA finally get speed? Yes, he did. So he's going to have relative ease dealing with Minigun's army. And I assume Minigun is just going to use this proxy pylon to warp in a few more Zealots. I would assume Minigun would have just went for a pure death ball. And because EGIdrA's not getting any Mutalisks yet or anything. Oh, I see what he's actually going to do. He's actually going to block off the ramp, prevent EGIdRA's reinforcements to save this hatchery. And EGIdRA's going to lose a ton of drones. Actually click that replay timer by accident. But yeah, he's going to lose at least, what, 20, 30? We're just going to see the... not 20 or 30, but like at least 15 or 20. And yeah, that's actually going to definitely hurt EGIdRA a lot. He's actually, we're actually seeing a little bit of nerd rage by EGIdRA a little bit, even bringing in a warp prism. And yeah, that's just kind of lights out for Minigun. I mean, for EGIdRA, he's going to lose a ton of drones, a hatchery. Is EGIdRA ahead in the units lost? No, he's not ahead in that regard. I meant as in the resource tab. No, he's not, but he is ahead in supply. He could actually deal with this army if he wanted to. This army could easily overpower, and EGIdRA's going to lose a few more links. This is just adding insult to injury, but he does snipe a few Stalkers, which is kind of a big deal. He did snipe one Stalker. He might actually lose the Warp Prism as well, which is also a big deal. And EGIdRA just losing a substantial amount of more resources, and EGIdRA's just going to try to follow this up with getting another hatchery. And what is our Zerg player going to do? Well, he's forcing Minigun to fall back, and eventually he's going to run out of force fields. I don't know why EGIdRA keeps trying to run up here. He's just giving away Minigun more Roaches, more Lings. He's like, here, take them. I don't need them. I don't know what's going through his mind right now, but Minigun will be able to handle EGIdRA's. If EGIdRA does decide to go for a counterattack, Minigun has a really well placed Immortal. He has a ton of cannons, and he does have a Lost Stalker, so this is actually a really good concave position, and it's all walled off completely as well. EGIdRA's just trying to scout around to see if Minigun went for an Expo anywhere, hidden Expo, scouting around with the slings, and it's honestly not that big of a deal because Well, actually, now it's kind of a big deal because Minigun is going for his third expo, and EGIdrA does need to take out these rocks, and Minigun's just going to slowly unload all his units from here into over here, so that way he could protect his third expo. And this is going to allow Minigun to go for pure death ball, I believe. And I don't know what EGIdrA can do at this point. I guess he's just going to go for the straight up kill the rocks build, and I don't know if that's actually going to work because Minigun will be able to shoot at the roaches from the high ground. EGIdrA does have pretty good positioning on his roaches. He could just shoot from at a range. And I wonder if Minigun does actually have enough roaches. I mean, has enough sentries. I'm actually mixing up the units right now. But EGIdrA will be able to take out this rocks, and he's going to back up immediately. He's just going to force Minigun to make a few stalkers in this area. And EGIdRA's just going to re-expand. And in all honesty, he did lose kind of a lot of drones. He lost a hatchery. But at the same time, it kind of delayed Minigun from... I mean, he could have possibly maxed out by now if he would have just went for this expo right away. EGIdRA's just going to try to run up here. And nope, that is not going to happen because it is fully blocked off. And I do not see EGIdRA killing any of these buildings before all the lings die. And I accidentally hit the power button on my computer. Almost did. Minigun's going to try to combine with his reinforcements from his main base, and now his army is just that much stronger with the combined forces of the sentries and stalkers, a few mortals to take out all the roaches. And EGIdRA is actually going to follow up with infestors instead of mutalisks, and I think this is a really good play on his part. And he will be able to fungal growth the army, and if he wants to, he could actually... Oh, he actually killed an observer there. Good play on EGIdRA to kill off 75 gas, 25 minerals, trying to catch up in any way he can. And I feel like both players are relatively even right now, and it's going to be up to Minigun to try to end the game right now, because this is what he's trying to do. He's trying to put EGIdRA on tilt, which he has successfully done, because as you could see from the earlier part of the game, he kind of made EGIdRA nerd rage a little bit. And that will put EGIdRA, that'll just make him a little bit angry. It's just going to affect his play a little bit. And I don't know. We're just going to see how Minigun is just going to respond to this kind of situation. He is on 3 base. He made a ton of cannons. He does not want to lose this third expo because that'd be kind of a big deal. He's actually going to go for his 4th expo, and he's going to follow up with some Dark Templars. I assume it's going to be the feedback for the infestors, but at the same time, he could storm on top of the lings, and that would do substantial amount of damage. And it looks like he's getting pretty close to maxing out, and he does have no Colossus. I'm a little bit curious about that. But at the same time, EGIdRA is going to get a Spire, and I feel like the saving grace for EGIdRA is going to be that he's going to need to either get Ultralisk, but I would say that's not too good of an idea, even though they can stomp on the force fields. And EGIdRA is just going to go for it. Is he going to be able to take out this Protoss army? We are about to find out. He's going to need really good fungal growth. It looks like he's not fungal growthing. He's just going to go for the narrow parasite. He does narrow parasite a couple mortals. And yeah, his army just got completely wrecked over there because those storms were pretty effective, I believe. I think I saw some storms and those roaches were not able to do enough damage. And what is EGIdRA thinking? He has no upgrades on any of his roaches units. Is that what happened to him? Was he not able to upgrade his units because he lost his hatchery over here? And we have a well-placed warp prism if he wants to warp in some zealots or something like that. But EGIdRA anticipating that, getting some spine crawlers. So the zealots would need to focus fire. Just manually click on all the drones and shift click all the other good stuff. And Minigun's just doing a really good job just holding off EGIdRA's attack, and he's just setting himself up even farther ahead. It's basically 4 base to 4 base. EGIdRA just basically got this base. He's not even mining from it yet. And we're just going to have to see what Minigun's going to follow this up with. EGIdRA is getting a greater Spire, and I highly recommend this. That's actually a pretty good play on it. EGIdRA should get a Spore Crawler here just in case if Minigun does go for Dark Templars. That's going to even send himself even farther ahead. And Minigun is just... He's just like, yeah, I can basically take out EGIdrA right now if I really wanted to. Even though EGIdrA does have a lot of infestors, he's just going to storm. And these lings, I feel like they're not going to be enough because Minigun can storm on top of these lings relatively easily. He's actually going to try to narrow parasite all the immortals. And they're actually doing quite a substantial amount of damage to this army. And EGIdrA doing a really good job actually holding this off. The fungal growths were enough. No, they were not. The immortals are going to be able to kill off all these infestors. EGIdrA not neuroparasiting fast enough, and he just actually just went for the, what are they called, infested Terran, something like that. And EGIdrA just rolling on the floor laughing. I think that's literally what he's doing. He's just on the floor right now. He's probably doing a Rafflecopter as well. He's sending in as many lings as possible, and I don't see him holding this off. This was just to put on pressure to prevent EGIdrA from getting Broodlords and all that other stuff. Oh my god, EGIdrA is really mad right now, and we could just tell he was just on tilt that whole entire game. And we can just see, clearly see how angry he is just from that one, from those two words over there. And Minigun just being a nice player, just saying thank you for complimenting me, all that other good stuff. And Minigun just on 4 base, and I honestly did not see EGIdrA winning this after losing that base. It looked like they were even in actuality, though. EGIdrA was going to have a hard time winning that game. So anyways, this was an interesting game. I enjoyed casting this, and EGIdrA could have possibly gotten some Broodlords to hold off this attack, but I just didn't see it happening. It would have taken a pretty long time. So anyways, that's that game. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.